So I'm actually looking at the emerging scenarios for advancing upcycling through cosmolocalism to promote sustainability. And I'm actually doing it with Alettia also from CPUT South Africa. Sorry, this is okay. So basically, what has happened is that, as we say, there are so many emerging innovations that are going on now and all over the world. All right, and they are being done at their different ends, at different places. And there is now a need for us to look at how we can all come together on the same platform to share different ideas. And that is actually the focus of this research that we did. All right. So fortunately, stories on access to environmental sustainability initiatives are in motion. Some are working on it at Recycled Arts and Design. And it actually implies that a lot of things are going on, and we don't have to necessarily start from zero, to borrow Ezio Manzini's phrase. So we just also don't need to reinvent the wheel. Others have started those innovations. We just have to borrow them and modify them within our localities. All right. So good. All right. So as I was saying, these are okay. So sorry to do a recap. Currently, there are so many innovations that are going on in different localities. And I think the whole concept of the Upcycling International Seminar is based on the fact that we need to look at what are going on at different places. Yes, and this is exactly what we did in this research. We are looking at what is going on in different places and how these people are trying to create a platform to share their ideas. All right. So we first look at the examples that are emerging, and our example were more related to do with artifacts that are being created from waste, and how these artifacts have become artifacts of value because they've been able to upcycle them. All right, and the way that we can for the upcycling was basically based on up melting. And the essence of up melting was done to give melting a value, because you're just melting the product, but you're actually melting to give it a different life, a different face now. All right. So you notice that there's an artist, Mutuzuri from South Africa, and he picks recycled plastics and he separates them into different colors. All right. And then he used those colors as shades in his painting. So he used heating gun to melt these plastics onto the canvas, which are also treated. And he's able to create images, as we can see here, for people to appreciate. So he creates a lot of his artifacts from plastics. And he doesn't really end there. And we're going to look at how he works also to share his ideas. So he has initiatives like schools where he teach others about this same technique, so that others can also employ these same techniques in their art methods and art processes. All right. And he has an interesting story behind how he came up with this technique. And he made it clear that he came by this technique because he was not having enough money. And he wanted to look at what are the other alternatives that he can use without necessarily going to buy paint and brushes. And this was exactly what came into mind, that he can actually use waste materials and then prepare a canvas and then use the heating gun to mold them to form images to create his artifacts. And this has been wonderful as one of the emerging innovations that are happening within the upcycling through painting using the heating gun. All right. Now, the next one has got to do with upcycling of plastic waste through artistic painting. And his is more to do with giving these are actually gallons. We call it containers, and these are containers that are used in Ghana. Okay, and these containers that you see there are actually for oil. Okay, we keep oil inside. We keep oil that are used for cooking oil inside. All right, but after they have been used, they are converted into containers for keeping water. Okay, so after they have also gotten the life after, which is after keeping the water, they may get spot. Okay, so you can see the images here. The person, the people are holding the gallons. All right, but after they have used them to fetch water, and those one has gotten broken. Okay, the next thing is that we have to give another life, and so this artist actually cuts these containers into pieces, into artistic installments. So what you see there that they are working on is actually an artistic installment. And he also sewed them together. The next image, okay, is actually sewn together. And he paints on these plastics to create the artistic value in his work. So basically, the gallons that will have, okay, become waste in the, what do you call it, the refuse dump has been given a third life. Second life is actually they are used for carrying water. But the third life is that they have been cut into pieces and then sewn together, and they also paints on these materials. All right. Now, the third one has got to do with app storing of waste paper into durable design storage bags. Now, these are actually paper that has been treated and given a second life into bags. Okay, and these actually cement bags, cement papers that have been treated to create the bags. But the unique nature of these materials has got to do with the fact that the materials have stories. It gives us how they came, I mean, the stories as to how they have come this far, and then the stories behind the images that are on these bags that are created. All right, so they are given a second life in the story. But the key thing is that with all these examples, what do we do with them? How can we create a space where we can share ideas? And it comes to the concept of cosmolocalism, where we can now adapt different global ideas and then localize them for our needs. So the concept of cosmopolitan localism is perceived as a creative balance between, which got to do with being rooted in a locality, but being open to global flows of ideas and people and things. Okay, and so you notice that what actually they are doing is not something so new. They've actually employed them from different spaces, and they're trying to do what use them within their locality. And the whole concept of cosmolocalism is based on small, local, open, and connected. The small concept here has got to do with actually giving people the fearless attitude to work with small objects, small things. Okay, so the innovation doesn't happen in masses. It happens within small spaces, and it gives people control over what they are doing. All right, and the local bit has got to do with the fact that they use their local available materials within the locality to work with in terms of the upcycling. So they are working in small spaces and they are using their available waste materials within their locality to generate innovative artifacts. Then the open concept has got to do with the fact that when we're looking at open, the idea that they are picking and what they are doing are not patented. All right. So in the idea of promoting upcycling, the concept of patent has to be weakened a little bit or loosened so that people can also apply or adapt those innovative concepts and then create similar products. All right. It's not necessary to kill innovation, but to give them a stepping stone for them to advance with their innovation. And then with the connection has got to do with the last bit is the connected. It's got to do with the fact that people need to work together. Though they are working at their different places, they may have to share ideas and then think of how possible they can reinvent things. Look at how they can help each other in different spaces as well. And so the next slide shows us a graphical representation of the small space and what people are actually doing in there. All right. So you notice that in the small space, we have plastic gallons being used as artistic installations, disposed polythene bags being used for painting with a heating gun, and then waste billboard banners and sachets for design bags. All right. And then you have disposed paper packages used for creating bags with storage design patterns. Okay, and these small spaces also fuel our creativity and innovation. It generates support for endless experimentation, and it promotes endless modifications. All right. Now, you notice that in the global space, we have some challenges here. So they have global environmental challenges, but these local innovations that are happening also have an effect on in the global space. So at the end of the day, you notice that these small, what do you call it, innovations happening locally, okay, are actually going internationally to help reduce plastic waste pollution in the water bodies and in the environment. How? Because actually people are going to employ the same when these ideas are shared among themselves, okay, or are picked from different global spaces. People are able to use it to reduce the challenges happening within their locality. And these challenges, when actually summoned up, are actually global challenges, of course. All right. So notice that in the small space, the small things that they are doing has a global impact by reducing water pollution by these materials that are found in those water bodies. Local solutions are able to. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think something has happened. The sharing. Can you still see the?
Yeah, we can see the
presentation,
slides.
please?
Yeah, it's visible.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right, good. So notice that in the these small innovations actually go to a far what do you call it? Have a far-reaching effect. So these are local solutions addressing global health challenges. So they're actually local, but they have a global impact as we advance. Okay, and this local community keep coming up with different innovations, create a creative world community to solve our challenges. All right. Okay, so the last bit is got to do with, can you see the last slide, please? Hello?
It's still there. It's still local
Okay,
and
good.
cosmo.
Okay, it's open and connected. All right. So with the open and connected dimension, notice that anytime there are smaller innovations going on, um, we notice that from the examples that I use, they have open and connected, what do you call it, um, attitude. So they share their ideas among each other within the small spaces. They ask for directions. You know, someone in is a small space A can go to small space B, or through the internet or some other platform. They can share the ideas that people can pick from, and then they can also use it within their local settings. So the cosmo-localism is kind of open and then also promotes connectedness, which will help others who haven't started to also know that they are capable of what? Advancing the concept of upcycling. Okay, so basically, this is the entire presentation on the upcycling and cosmo-localism and how we can leverage cosmo-localism to promote upcycling within our various disciplines. Good. Any question? And thanks very much for this opportunity.